Hi, I'm Katie from the Queen Stitch, and together with Love Crafts, today I'm going to teach you how to make a summer market tote. We're going to be using Ribbon XL thread, an 8mm hook, scissors, and a flexible measuring tape. In this video, we'll be covering half double crochet, chain stitch, double crochet, and single crochet. Let's get started. So for this tutorial, you're going to need 3 of these large skeins of Ribbon XL. And I love this fiber because it's 100% recycled and it's 90% cotton. So it's great for the summer, but it's really great for bags anytime. You'll need your measuring tape and your scissors. So I'm using an 8mm hook, but my friend made this bag with a 7mm hook, so just be sure to watch your gauge. The first step of the tutorial is to make granny squares, and they should be about 5 inches by 5 inches. So if you're a tight crocheter, like me, you may want to move up to the 8mm. If you're a loose crocheter, see how it goes with the 7mm. So let's get started. First step is our granny squares. These are just the traditional, most basic granny square version. If you want to spice it up and use a different kind of granny square, go right ahead. I think it would look really beautiful with any kind of granny square. So first things first, I'm just gonna slip knot and chain 3. Again, if you want a slower version of a granny square or a closer up version of a granny square, you can feel free to go to that other video first. So we've got chain 3. We're going to insert our hook into that first loop, pull through. So we've got 2 loops, pull through again. That creates a loop. Some people prefer to start their granny squares with a magic loop. You can do that if you'd like. I prefer this way because it's more structured. So we've got our loop. Then we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3. That counts as our first double crochet. So we're going to double crochet now. Wrap your yarn, insert your hook into the center of the loop, and be sure it's the center of the loop and not like part of a stitch. We don't want that. So insert your hook, pull through. You'll have 3 loops. Yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, pull through 2. Your standard double crochet in American terminology. Do that again. So this is your first granny cluster, your chain 3 and then your 2 double crochets. For your granny square corner, you're going to chain 2, and then it's time for the next side. You're going to insert your hook right into the middle of the loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. You can see that that chain 2 creates the little corner over here. So we're going to do 3 double crochets for this cluster as well. And that's your standard granny stitch, is these 3 double crochet clusters. Really struggling with this yarn. Should have pulled from the center. What a rookie error, am I right? Chain 2. And we're going to do that twice more. And then chain 2, and then to finish the round, we're going to slip stitch into the top of the 3rd chain of that first double crochet that we did. So once we've slip stitched, we're going to start our new round by chaining 3. 1, 2, 3. So for the second round of our granny square, we're going to go into the second corner. Can you see these corners here appearing? There you are. So we're going to go in there. So in each corner, you're going to do the 3 double crochet clusters, chain 2, and then another 3 double crochet clusters. 1, 2, 3. Just all over the place right now. So that's what it'll look like in each of these corners. 2 additional clusters with the chain 2. So we slip stitch to close the round again. And so now we have a granny square with 2 rounds. See it appearing in there? So we're gonna do one more round for this first one. So chain 1, 2, 3. And just like before, you're gonna do 2 clusters in each corner. Woo. It's a little crazy with using yarn this thick, I find. I'm so used to, see, look at me, I'm all over the place. Just goes to show that even people who do YouTube tutorials can always get better. So used to my tiny hooks and my tiny yarn. This is actually probably a good workout for me. Gotta build my crochet muscles, guys. So in the third round, you're also gonna be working a cluster of 3 in the middle here. And you're not gonna have any chain stitches because we don't need a corner. So here's the side. Just 3 double crochet like before. Okay, we're at the final corner. So we're gonna 3 double crochet. And then you can see that we're back to where we started, which just has that 3 chain. So we need to do 2 more double crochets and then slip stitch to finish our granny square. Come here, you. Okay. And then we slip stitch to finish. Tie off and snip. And we have our first large granny. Let's take a look at our gauge, see if we're close. Yeah, we're pretty close with that 5 inches. Perfect. So this is the only granny square that you're gonna make completely alone. Our second granny square, we're going to join as you go. So I'm going to do the first 2 rounds exactly the same, and so should you. And I'll meet you at the end of that second round. So once we come to the end of the second round on this second square, we slip stitch just like we did before, and then we chain 3 just like we did before. So in our first corner, we're going to do our first cluster of 3 double crochets. 1, 2, if I can catch it. Nope. 2, 3. So we're going to be doing the join as you go, which I think saves time on seaming later and looks really nice. It's also really useful to do in larger blankets and pieces like this. So we chain 1, not 2. Chain 1, and then you're gonna join it up into the corner of your other square by slip stitching around the corner once, and then chaining 1. And then work your 3DC cluster into the corner of this second square. So we've got our 1, 2, and 3. So you can see it here, how it's connected in the corner. We're gonna do another slip stitch to connect these this side here, right in the center of the 2 clusters on the edge of that first square. Okay? So we've slip stitched around it, and then we're gonna work another cluster into the second square. So 3 double crochet. 1, 2, and 3. So you may be able to guess what's coming next, but we're gonna slip stitch around this cluster here again. So I'm gonna do that slowly for you guys. So we have it, that last double crochet on our hook with the loop. You're gonna insert your hook underneath the square. You're going to yarn over, pull through, and pull through the loop. There you are. That's the slip stitch around. So then you're going to do another last 3 double crochet into the corner of the second square. 1, 2, 3. And just like that top corner here, you're going to chain 1, slip stitch around the granny square, 1, chain 2, meaning that's your second chain, not that you chain 2. And then you double crochet 3 back into that same corner. 1, 2, 3. So now you can see they're nicely joined together. We're going to finish the round, this third round on the second square, and then we're going to tie off. And it also becomes easier because all of our ends will be on the same side. So let's finish the square and I'll show you what this looks like. Okay, so then we do our final 2 double crochets in that last segment. Slip stitch to finish, tie off, leave in some end to weave in later, and voila! You have your 2 granny squares using the join as you go method. So we're going to do the exact same thing 3 more times until we have 5, and then for that last and 6th square, you're going to be joining on both sides to form a ring. So I'll meet you at the end. So now you should have 5 granny squares all linked together in the join as you go method. Spread out, it should look like this. We're now ready to work on this last and 6th granny square that will link all of these together. So make sure you've got the outside of the granny square facing away from you, and then you can fold it. And now we're going to join the last granny square on both sides to form a ring. Let's see, there. So let's begin. So we've done our first 2 rounds, the same as we did for the other granny squares. We're going to chain 3 like we've been doing. 1, 2, 3. We're going to start with that first cluster in the corner. So, oh, losing it again. So that's 3 double crochets. You can see I'm running low on my first skein. That's why we have 3 for this project. So you chain 1, just like you did for the rest, slip stitch into the corner, and chain 1. Again, you've already done this before, 5 times. Chain and do your cluster. Slip stitch the underside in the gap between the clusters and the granny square. And then another cluster, followed by another chain stitch. And then the corner. So 3 double crochet, a chain stitch, a slip stitch to the corner, and another chain stitch. And so this is when we're going to start connecting things together. 3 double crochet, there we go. And then you're going to work the bottom like you did before. So this is the only part that's different for this last square. We've already connected the first side, and now we're going to connect the second side. So we have our 3 double crochets in the corner, per usual. Then we do our first chain, and then we slip stitch under, connect the round, another chain. I'm gonna move it so it's easier for me. And then exactly the same thing on this side. So 3 double crochet, connect the slip stitch there between the 2 segments, another 3 double crochet, another slip stitch for stability, and then we've got that last corner. So 3 double crochet, a chain stitch, a slip stitch, another chain stitch, and we're so close. So we've got 3 more double crochet. 1, 2, 3. 2 more double crochet to finish the round. 1, 2. And then we slip stitch to finish the round. Just like so. So we don't cut off. We have our ring of 6, just like so, connected all the way around, and we're happy. This is the start of our bag. So we're moving on to the next section. In this part, we're going to half double crochet around the ring, and that starts the bag. So I personally like to have a nice edge of our granny squares showing to really show off the work that we've done. So the first row around will be half double crochet BLO, or back loop only. So we loop around and we get started. And if you can see, I'm only working in the back loop of the stitch. So for these granny squares, we have 9 stitches across, and then we're gonna work a half double crochet in the space as well. That means there's gonna be 11 stitches per granny square, so you should have a total of 66 at the end. So we're almost all the way around. We've got our nice ridge line. So what do we do to connect? Do we slip stitch? Do we start another row? We do not. We're gonna continue around as a spiral. So we've got 1, 2 stitches here, and then we're just gonna go right up on the first stitch that we started the round with, and we're gonna stop our back loop only. So from here on, it'll all be normal half double crochet. And as you can see, I've started a new roll and I'm pulling from the middle like an adult. So once we connect, we just go all the way around. I prefer to do spiral crochet like this instead of rows when you're going in the round because it avoids a seam and I think it looks nicer. But again, we're very open to whatever your preferences are. So if you prefer to do seaming, you can feel free. So I'm probably going to make mine around 10 inches deep because it's about 15 inches wide already, so it fits my laptop, but you can make it as long as you'd like. When you've finished going around as deep as you'd like, meet me back here. So here we are at the bottom of our bag. If you didn't notice, this is a new color. This is one I finished earlier. I really like this mint color. It's also available in the Ribbon XL. So at the bottom of your bag, we need to make a flap so that the bag has depth. So for this one, which is 66 half double crochets around, if we want our base to be 3 rows deep, we need to subtract 3 from both sides, which means that I'm going to half double crochet 30, chain 1, and turn. And I'm going to have 3 rows for my base. So let's start that. All you have to do for your base is chain 1 and turn. That's it. No harm, no foul. If you'd like to line it up with where you started your spiral, that's also fine. That's what I tried to do, but you know, I think it's actually hard to tell. So let's just start our half double crochets across. Okay, so as we come to the end here, 1, 2, 3, 4, we're gonna finish that third row. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're gonna chain 1, like so, and then we're gonna connect the base. So we've got to count 3 rows, so 1, 2, 3, and then we're gonna slip stitch. So there's a hole right here, ignore it, it's okay. We'll come back to it. We're gonna slip stitch the base together all along the edge. And it should be stitch for stitch, so there should be no stitches missing other than the 3 that you just did. And we're just gonna slip stitch both rows together. So you're gonna hook in the top of your stitch and the top of the stitch here, yarn over, pull through 2, and then pull through that last loop. So you're gonna work your way across until you've got 3 stitches left. So when you come to the last 3 stitches, you're gonna chain 1 so that you can turn that corner, and then you're gonna insert your hook on the side of the row. So you've got your 3 rows, 1, 2, 3, and your 3 stitches left. So you're just gonna go in from the side of the row to the top of the stitch, like so. And you're gonna finish off those 3 edges. So 1, 2, and 3. Then you're gonna tie off, cut the end, and weave that end on the inside. You're just gonna do the exact same thing over here. Just 3 slip stitches across. And make sure you leave enough end to weave in. So once all of your ends have been weaved in, then we can go back to the top. So as you can see here, I've done a line of half double crochet back loop only again. So this would be the exact same as the row we did right under the granny squares. So the last thing that I'll show you how to do is add the shoulder strap. Starting on your side seam of the bag. So you've got your corners here, pick one of the sides. I'm gonna use this one. You're gonna make your strap just with half double crochets, easy peasy. We tie on. Make sure you have enough of an end to weave in. So you find that seam right there. I've got 1, 2, 1, 2. So I want my strap to be 4 half double crochets across. If you'd like a thicker strap, you can feel free. I'd be wary of thinner straps though, because this bag may be a little bit heavy. We don't want it to stretch and break. So I'm gonna tie on, half double crochet 1, half double crochet 2. So I've done my half double crochet 4, chain 1, turn. And all this strap is 4 half double crochets, chain 1, turn. I'm gonna start with at least 20 inches and then see how it sits on me. I'll meet you at that end. Once you've gotten your strap, as long as you'd like it, and remember to factor in stretch, you're gonna chain 1. So you should finish on an even row, chain 1, whoop, if I can do it, chain 1, and then you're gonna turn the strap to the wrong side out and meet it on the other end of the bag. So I have my 1, 2, 3, 4 on the exact opposite edge. If I can find my yarn. And you're gonna insert your hook into the bag side and then into the first stitch, and then you're gonna slip stitch to fasten. Hook into the second stitch on the bag and then into the strap, slip stitch. Third time, slip stitch, and fourth, slip stitch. So then to fasten off, You're gonna tie off, cut a relatively decent end to weave in, and then your bag will be all set up. Look at that lovely market bag. Thanks for watching this crochet tutorial on how to make a summer market tote. If you enjoyed yourself, be sure to subscribe to Lovecraft's YouTube channel where you can get many more crafty tutorials. See you next time.